Welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast, a weekly deep dive into everything that makes New Jersey spectacular, bizarre, beautiful, sometimes annoying, but always the best. I am Jeremy Schneider, a food and culture reporter for NJ.com and the Star Ledger, and I'm also your host. Right off the top, a weekly reminder to send episode suggestions, guest ideas, and questions our way at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us at Jersey's Best Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. If you like this podcast, you're going to like what we're posting there. Come on, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. I'll even follow back, I promise. This week, Jersey's Best Podcast is going hunting for the Jersey Devil. Because Halloween is right around the corner, and there is no better time to break down New Jersey's scariest, most legendary, definitely real cryptid. Yes, as beautiful as New Jersey is, we have come to embrace a creature with hooves, horns, and leathery wings as not just the mascot of our NHL team, but our state as a whole. He's the most famous resident of the Pine Barrens, even ahead of the Russian from Season 3 of Sopranos. We all love the Jersey Devil, and 1 in 6 New Jerseyans actually believe he's real, according to a recent study from Fairleigh Dickinson University. But how was the Jersey Devil legend born? How much do we actually know about him? And what does it say about our state that we've come to embrace such a demonic creature? We really wanted to get the Jersey Devil himself for this episode. I actually spent a few weeks hunting through the Pine Barrens, sustaining myself on nothing but ketchup, mustard, and relish packets like Paulie. But no dice, the guy's hard to find. So instead, we brought on another Jersey legend who knows a thing or two about the Jersey Devil himself. Joining me today to talk about the Jersey Devil and the rest of the best Garden State cryptids is Chris Gethard, an actor, comedian, and writer from West Orange who hosts the excellent podcast Beautiful Anonymous. Chris Gethard, welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a joy to be here, Jeremy. And I don't want to pull back the curtain too much, but the first episode you recorded was with me, and you had to throw it out. Mostly, you've been very nice about it, but I just started ranting about predatory real estate developers, which was not what you asked about.
Chris, for the uninitiated, which is everybody but the 3 people in this room right now, there is a lost episode of Jersey's Best Podcast, the pilot episode, which Chris Gethard was gracious enough to come on. And in all honesty, Jeremy Steyer, podcast host, was not ready for the big stage yet. I wasn't ready for Chris Gethard in the booth with me.
I was ranting like a madman. No, luckily for you, I've been having some stomach problems this week, but I think that means my energy will be a little subdued, which might actually lead to audio you can release.
No. I want the same rants. I want the same energy. We need better hosting. That was a Jeremy problem, not a Chris problem. And as soon as we went back to the drawing board, and I think we've come back to a pretty good place with the podcast. And I've truly been I've been so excited to have you on. Chris, you're just such a good representative of New Jersey. I always say that Bruce Springsteen's the president, but you're the mayor.
That's super nice. I'll take that.
And you represent this state so well. You love this state. It comes through with everything. You even love Montclair, I think.
I do deep down love Montclair, even though I talk a lot of smack about Montclair.
My favorite thing,
but because you grew up there, if you're from a town that borders Montclair, you have feelings on Montclair.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're from Montclair, you have feelings on Montclair. It's conflicting. It's difficult. And my favorite part of going to any Chris Gethard show is when he inevitably makes fun of Montclair, my hometown, and says, "Sorry, Jeremy, but it's quite all right." And Chris, your podcast, New Jersey is the World, really was the spiritual prequel to this podcast.
Yeah, I miss it still. I still have people coming up to me sometimes going like, "Do more New Jersey is the World." And for a variety of reasons that can't happen, but a lot of it being I'm too tired, man.
You're grinding, man. You're doing a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about that later. And, so many of our listeners are former New Jersey is the World listeners and New Jersey is the World guests. It's been very cool to have Andrea on, to have Nick Fierro, the Jersey Devil himself, on.
Nick Fierro is a madman.
He will definitely come up later. Has someone who's played the Jersey Devil. Chris, you love this state so much. It comes through with everything you do in your work, especially when you're, talking about this state. One component of the state's culture that is always been beloved and always been embraced is the Jersey Devil. Mm-hmm. Why do you love the Jersey Devil so much, and why do you think the state loves him so much?
There's a lot of reasons to love the Jersey Devil. I think he's unique unto himself. There's other cryptids out there, and one thing people should know about me is I worked for many years at Weird New Jersey magazine in my 20s.
Did you have right here?
Yeah, this is the new issue right here. I'm holding it in my hands for anybody viewing this. But, I worked there full-time for like 4 years and change, and then part-time for years, and still write for them today. And I think we have the uniqueness. Like, I've studied this stuff. I helped write the whole series of books that spread out across the country. And you'll see, like, you go down to Florida, right? And they got the skunk ape. And that's just another kind of Bigfoot, right? And you go to South Carolina, and they have the lizard man. And the lizard man is cool, but there's all kind of, we've all seen movies with lizard men and Godzilla-type creatures.
Yeah,
and
the
things
Spider-Man villain called the Lizard.
Yeah.
Great villain.
These are things that you can recognize. But much like many of the other things I love about New Jersey, they don't, like the Jersey Devil does not make sense anywhere else, much in the same way that Route 22 having businesses in the center doesn't make sense to anybody else, much like jug handles. Like the amount of people I know who travel to Jersey and they're not from here and they're like, why can't you just make a left turn?
Nah.
And it's like, shut up. Like, we pump our own gas. We don't get to pump our own gas. People are like, how come? You're the only state left doing that. And it's like, because we do things our own way, and it's really unique. And I do think the Jersey Devil's like that. I don't think you can find other cultures out there that have a similar story to that. Maybe Chupacabra is reasonably close, but not that close. I think the Jersey Devil is really cut from its own cloth in the way that a lot of iconic Jersey stuff is.
I think the Jersey Devil, first of all, has Jersey in the name. Thank you. That's more than the Giants and Jets can do for us. But I think it's kind of emblematic of a lot of things in Jersey. The Jersey Devil is feared. Mm-hmm. The Jersey Devil is misunderstood. Mm-hmm. We can't agree on anything about the Jersey Devil. He's misunderstood but embraced, beloved by those who embrace him. It feels very Jersey to me. There are a lot of ugly things in New Jersey, a lot of ugly places in New Jersey, a lot of ugly cryptids in New Jersey, and we love them nonetheless because they're ours. And also, I think there's the South Jersey of it all. We can have a lot of the Jersey Devil, or a Jersey Devil-like creature, has been cited throughout the state, but it's pretty much accepted. The Jersey Devil's from the Pine Barrens.
The Pine Barrens thing, yeah, and maybe on some level that right there, I think so much of this state is defined by the density of the people and the fact that everybody is up against each other all the time, bumping into each other, sitting in traffic, crossing paths with one another. And yet it's that kind of thing that is that dichotomy Jersey has where you go like, yeah, it is. And there is too much traffic and there are too many people. And when you get out to the cities, you can feel how dense it is. And when you go to a public school in a lot of areas of the state, there's such a beautiful amount of different types of people that all live in these towns and come together. And it's one of the secret weapons on why I think our education is so good. But then, just like how everything else in Jersey is contradictory, it's like, yeah, well, there's so much said about how it's this tiny, super densely packed with people state. And yet the Pine Barrens is this spread out, lonely, sort of gloomy thing sitting in its guts that completely contradicts that image. And the Jersey Devil, I think, not only is he associated with the Pine Barrens, I think in many ways the existence of the Jersey Devil legend he's almost in some ways like you don't want to say personification because he's not a person, but he is that in a way where you have to explain that the Pine Barrens themselves are completely bizarre, just completely bizarre. So maybe the best way we could come up with to try to explain what the Pine Barrens is be like, hey, there's actually a monster that lives there that's sort of four other monsters stitched together. And that's sort of Jersey in general, right?
Absolutely. And it's the kind of thing where you, just like so many things in Jersey, these urban legends, these things you hear your friend's friend told you about, like at the cafeteria in middle school, and then like you're in college at Rutgers or whatever, and people are talking like, yo, we got to take a trip down to the Pine Barrens. We're gonna find the Jersey Devil. Like, other states probably have that, but is it like this? Does it have the state in the name? Does it personify, or is it emblematic of the region in which it was born? Was the legend so great that it became a professional sports franchise? As a New York Rangers fan, we don't have to get into that right now. They suck right now, but I think the Devils. The fact that the New Jersey Devils exist, the fact that they took a cryptid and made it a professional sports franchise that, much to my chagrin, has won multiple Stanley Cups. That's awesome. That transcends Bigfoot. That transcends like the Loch Ness monster as far as these other cryptids. And talk about the Pine Barrens. There's so many cryptids in the Pine Barrens alone that we could do a whole podcast just on that. So
he's also one of the things that people not from Jersey know about Jersey.
Yeah.
He's
Agreed.
like a true mascot, like if you say like, what do you know comes out of Jersey? There's people who might go, Springsteen, Bon Jovi, the punk rockers are going to know the Misfits. Maybe the people who are obsessive film nerds start talking about Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway and go on down the list. But the Jersey Devil is one of our exports that people actually know about. And it's even compared to other weird New Jersey stuff, like they don't know about the Devil's Tree or the Devil's Tower in Oklahoma or Texas, but they've heard of the Jersey Devil. Mm-hmm. He punches way above his weight in that sense.
I completely agree, and I love that about him. It's if people are going to remember a few things about Jersey, it should be good pizza, Bruce Springsteen, and the Jersey Devil. Put him, if there was a Jersey Rushmore, he's absolutely
he's
got to be on it. I actually had a really cool moment. A friend of mine, Fraser Tharp, he's a writer and editor for GQ, like super tapped in to celebrity stuff, entertainment culture, et cetera, et cetera. He was a guest on this podcast.
Yeah,
he was awesome. It was a lot of fun. We're talking about like celebrity tiers in New Jersey, and I mentioned the Jersey Devil, and I was like, man, Fraser lives in LA now. Like he's not going to care about this. And he was like, yo, put some respect on the Jersey Devil's name. And he's like, but we got to get a movie. We got to make this happen. That is Jersey royalty. And I was like, okay, like. My man's got pulled even in Hollywood. So
Fraser grew up in Montclair?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right.
That's fine. That's all good. No, I have nothing against him. I thought his episode was great.
No, Fraser's the best. He's so funny. And the fact that me and Fraser have, he went to Hollywood and I stayed in Jersey. We're out here killing it in the journalism game in one way or another. But if we're gonna talk Jersey Devil, we got to talk about his origins. I've done some research, and I feel you didn't even need to do research.
I didn't do any research for this episode, but I'm fairly confident in
my
ability to just shoot from the hip on this one.
And that's why we have you here. What are the Jersey Devil's origins? How did he come to be?
I think there's a number of stories. There's the one that's kind of broadly the most chattered about folklore. And then there's the one that's the most effort to root it in history. Both are really weirdly fascinating. Both of them involve Leeds Point, which is a town in the Pine Barrens. Isolated, tiny. Story goes that way back in the early 1700s, I believe, there was a woman named Mother Leeds. Large family, 12 kids, dad not crushing it as a dad. Some of the stories are like he was a bad dude. He was out drinking, this and that.
Had a lot of kids.
Yeah, and when she got pregnant a 13th time, in her frustration, she said the words, "Let this one be a devil." And from there, there's even up to there's a lot of variations on the story. But, I think in the broad strokes, what you hear is that when this baby was born, that baby wound up being cursed because she said that. My favorite version of the story is the one where the baby is born and looks like a normal baby. And the midwives and whatnot that are there kind of like looking at each other like, remember she said that? Oh, cool. It's a normal baby. I guess we got away with it. And after the baby was born, it sprouted big, giant, leathery wings and deer hooves and a horse head that was breathing fire and flew off into the night and has terrorized the Pine Barrens ever since.
Flew up the chimney like a reverse Santa Claus, which I love.
I think that's the broad strokes you'll hear of most of the folklore. The history, there's a lot of people that say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Benjamin Franklin is responsible.
There is a political component. That's I think the version you just gave is like the classic understanding of how, or like accepted origin story. If we were going to do a Jersey Devil movie, that would be the origin component.
And the other one, if I remember right, there was some, Benjamin Franklin put out Poor Richard's Almanac. And there was a South Jersey publisher named Leeds who put out a competing almanac.
Daniel Leeds, yeah.
And to try to undercut him and make people not trust his competitor and to besmirch his name.
Don't listen to Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin made up this legend and attached it to the Leeds family name.
Yeah,
which is equally cool. That's an equally cool story, that one of the most influential founding fathers did this as a smear campaign against a business rival.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly Jersey that it's either like some haunted shit or it's some political subterfuge. And I mean, historian Brian Regal believes the mother Leeds story actually comes from the reputation of the local prominent Leeds family in the colonial era province of Jersey, New Jersey. It was the religious political disputes of the family became the subject of folklore and gossip, and political or colonial era political intrigue, with Ben Franklin getting involved. He started calling Daniel Leeds the Leeds Devil, and that kind of started this origin thing. And apparently, the Leeds family crest looks like the Jersey Devil, which also might have played into all this. It's very Jersey that we can't even agree on how this started, but it's just like this is how urban myths should be, right? Like, it's so wild to me that we're talking about Benjamin Franklin, the guy that invented electricity, said the turkey should have been the national bird, also might have been the inventor of the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, he had something to do with it, and I think either way, it's pretty cool, man. I think either way, it's pretty great.
The Jersey Devil has his origins from way back in the 1700s. Also, I keep saying he. Is the Jersey Devil, I mean, how dare I assume the gender of the Jersey Devil?
Yeah,
right?
that's an interesting one.
I was thinking about that as I was writing the notes for this.
Yeah.
The Jersey Devil is typically portrayed male.
The sports associations, the New Jersey Devils definitely leans a little more masculine in modern times.
Though the Jersey Devil is, and look, I love the Jersey Devil mascot. I'm on the record as someone who doesn't like the Devils, that their branding is fantastic from the name, from the NJ logo with the horns.
The mascot.
The mascot's so cute. He's a little.
I taught a guy in an improv class years ago, and his job was he was the mascot.
You knew the Jersey Devil mascot?
Yeah, he doesn't do it anymore, but he would go and put on the ice skates. He had been a mascot in college. He had been a mascot in high school. He had a scholarship in college to be a mascot, and he was learning comedy in classes I was teaching, and his day gig was that he would go and put on ice skates and a giant mascot uniform because he was the Jersey Devil.
Yes, and dressed like the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, that's a great day job. If you have to have a day job while pursuing your art, that's a fantastic one.
And homie could skate. I mean, skating is hard enough.
Yeah.
Skating while playing hockey, pretty hard. Skating in a Jersey Devil suit. It's so cute. He's got the horns and kind of the devilish grin. But this is not. And this came up previously on the podcast. People took issue. The Jersey Devil the New Jersey Devils mascot does not look like the Jersey Devil.
No, he looks more like the Christian devil.
Yeah.
More evocative of actual religious. I wish that there was someone out there skating around with wings and deer hooves and a horse head on national television.
Well, you have. I mean, this is a good time to mention it. At your live shows for your podcast, you've brought in. There is a Jersey Devil theater production, yes? Or
The Devil and Daisy Dirt, yeah, really great play that these guys wrote. I mean, we used to have Nick Fierro dress up as a version of the Jersey Devil at our live shows, and then our final show we had Devil and Daisy Dirt is a great play. These guys have done it all over the state, and they have a super elaborate Jersey Devil outfit that looks a little bit less like the traditional one and more like a big hulking beast.
The thing is terrifying. Yeah. I was at that show on the stage, and it was coming at me, and I was not happy. I mean, it was cool. It was all right, that's a Jersey celebrity, but I feel like it could definitely kill me.
Yeah, it was definitely not the most playful, silly version of the Jersey Devil I've ever seen.
And the classic Jersey Devil, I mean, at least from the folklore, what is it? I mean, you mentioned a little bit, but
people find tracks up in the snow, sometimes up on their roof, as if it leapt from the ground up to the roof. Killing livestock all over the state back in the day, killing people, generally terrorizing the southern half of the state. And I'm all for it.
If you Google Jersey, and Dwayne's gonna put pictures of the Jersey Devil up for the social clips, but the thing it's bipedal, which I didn't know was a word. Or it's a biped. It has 2 feet. It almost kind of looks like a really haunted kangaroo.
Yeah.
It has two feet with hooves, a split tail. It has these big leathery wings. It has either a goat or a horse head. It looks like, have you seen the movie What's that? What? Oh God, there was the movie with Natalie Portman, and they hold up. Now I gotta look it up.
The Phantom Menace.
It looks like Darth Maul. Hold on, one sec.
Attack of the Clones.
Film. She's been in a lot of movies. I got the book and I did not. Annihilation. All right. Have you seen the movie Annihilation?
I have not.
So it's a really weird sci-fi flick where there's like these like kind of hybrid animals, and the Jersey Devil kind of looks like it's something out of that. The sketch I'm looking at right now from the Evening Bulletin in Philadelphia from 1909 is kind of cute. Not gonna lie, that the horse head's kind of like smiling at you. The thing is terrifying. Like it is not like, look, the Jersey Devil. If you saw like the canonical version, the traditional version of Satan, you know, with the horns and the pitchfork, like if you saw that down in the Pine Barrens, that'd be scary. But at least you know what you're dealing with.
Would not be as cool.
No, I agree.
Would not be as cool.
Would not be as Jersey to just be like, oh yeah, it's the devil and it's the New Jersey. No, the Jersey Devil is its own damn thing, and it is a abomination of a creature.
Yeah.
And I mean I find
he represents our darkest instincts. He represents a mother's betrayal of his very existence. He represents our inability to still see him as a baby deserving of love, who cast him out into the dark of the Pine Barren woods. He represents guilt. He represents our shame. He's the best. Very Catholic in those ways. Yeah, he lives in the blue hole.
What's the blue?
Oh, you don't know about the blue hole?
I've heard of it. I don't know.
I've been to the blue hole.
What is it?
There's stories that there's a pond in the Pine Barrens that is an unnatural shade of blue, and that is cold to a degree that doesn't make sense for the ecosystem. And that's how powerful the Jersey Devil is, that to explain this other strange anomaly, there's people who say that the reason the blue hole is so strange is because the Jersey Devil plunges into the blue hole and lives at the bottom of it, and that's the Jersey Devil's house. And that people have said that they've put weights down there with strings and it's just bottomless and you can't get to the bottom of the blue hole. But the fact that there's like a weird blue pond and people are like, that's kind of odd. But that the way that they can try to rationalize that is that must be the home of the Jersey Devil. That's a fantastic 1-2 punch and just shows you the cultural impact of the devil himself.
This is a house of cryptid cards that we're building. That like to explain one thing, we're using another, super.
Because we also, let's be clear. Oh shoot, sorry. I think I stepped on a wire. That's something.
We good?
Flying.
That's never happened before.
Is everything okay? I got excited.
Yeah. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. We gotta be, because even outside of the Jersey Devil himself, New Jersey loves the devil. You've got the Devil's Tower in Alpine. If you drive around it 6 times backwards, Satan comes out and appears. You got the Devil's Tree in Bernardsville, which is a tree cursed by the devil, and if you touch it, you're supposed to die on the way home. You've got the Devil's Tomb in Far Hills, which is a stone structure on top of a hill that has no doors or windows, and they say a group of priests trapped the devil with silver handcuffs attached to the ground and built the structure around him so he couldn't escape. There's, you start to get into Clifton, the gates of hell, the infamous sewage tunnels that kids in Clifton for many generations have been climbing around as a rite of passage, which I would actually argue is one of the most Clifton things I've heard. And I have often made the argument that if you can only go to one town and you want to understand North Jersey, that Clifton would be a very good pick for that town.
I think that's valid, yeah.
That Clifton has, you got sections that are fancier than others. You got the border with Patterson. You got a bunch of great bars and restaurants, Rutt's Hut and the Hot Grill within it. But most of all, Clifton has always been a hotbed for bored teens who have a reputation in other nearby towns for being
rabble-rousers,
slight fucking lunatics. Let's just be honest. When you grow up in a town not far from Clifton, you're like, yeah, Clifton kids are good kids, but they're the first ones to they're the ones that'll be like, oh, see this cliff? Let's try to jump to the other side. And you're like, no, we'll all die. And they're like, no, we'll do it. And then they do it. And you're like, okay, how do all people from Clifton not die as teenagers? Because you're all sort of like these weird, somewhat crazy yet lovable people who constantly test yourselves and each other. They've got the gates of hell. You've got a whole bunch of Satan imagery up and down the state. We love the devil in New Jersey, and he's the quote unquote living representation of him. He's the creature that sums up our love of devil stuff.
So basically, you're saying that Are You Afraid of the Dark is set in Clifton?
I think it would. I think it should be. If they ever bring it back, it absolutely would be. And no offense to Clifton.
It's a compliment.
I love Clifton, but I think Clifton wraps up all of North Jersey's sort of craziness, unnecessary ego and machismo, and the constant testing and pissing contests we all put each other through. Clifton is ground zero for so much of what I love about North Jersey, and it's not a shock to me that they have a local legend where you have to walk through sewage drains to go try to find the devil. We love the devil in this state.
Why do you think that is? Are we just that masochistic or sadistic, or are we just into weird shit?
Definitely into weird shit. I also think, look at the numbers of Irish Catholics and Italian Catholics. You look at, we have historically like a pretty big Greek population in the state, another notoriously superstitious people, let alone just the fact that we are a state that is chock full of bored young people that need something to do.
Oh, yeah.
Looking for trouble is that thing. And I think when you combine a lot of different, you could start to get nerdy about it. I got an American Studies degree from Rutgers. I took a class called Jerseyana, New Jersey as a Culture, Flex. But I think there's something to be said for you have this constant energy of young people with nothing to do who want to test their mettle. You also have a lot of immigrant groups bringing their superstitions with them, waves of them over the years, and it's part of what's great about our state, but always bringing different superstitions that don't necessarily make sense with each other. And I almost think that there's, in some ways, the Jersey Devil and how it's characterized sort of represents that. Like, it's got the wings of one animal, the legs of another, the head of a different one. And tell me if that isn't just the same experience as, like, driving around Middlesex County. You know what I mean? Like, you turn any random corner and you're like, oh, wild. Okay, I guess I'm just in Little India now. You know what I mean? I guess I'm just, what's this random road full of the best Korean food I've ever seen? Like, this whole state is about cobbling together different things into one beast that's greater than its whole. And that's the Jersey Devil.
New Jersey Devil is a hodgepodge of different things, just like New Jersey. Leave it to Chris Gethard to go from Clifton's crazy to giving a psycho and socioeconomic analysis of why that happens. I love that. And yeah, growing up in Montclair, you heard about the gates of hell. You heard about the
Monk's Castle by you.
Yeah.
Monk's Castle was a big one in Montclair.
Hear about the insane asylum,
up
which is
Caldwell.
now a lovely park.
I used to go up there all the time. That place. And what did it say on the famous imagery in Weird New Jersey #9 on the 3 steps outside of one of the main buildings of that mental hospital? Welcome on one step, 2 on the next one, hell on the way down. Welcome to hell. We love hell. We love the devil. We love testing ourselves in the state. It's a thing that gets said over and over again, but I also think there's something to being a slightly forgotten culture that leads to something like the Jersey Devil, right? Like it is often talked about, and you and I think have both had to talk about it way too much of like, you got New York, you got Philly.
The what about us of it all.
And that's where you start to get, like, I don't think the misfits can come from anywhere but Lodi, right? Like, I think if they lived on the other side of the river when the Ramones and Talking Heads and Television and all those bands were doing their things, they'd be just another CDs band.
They blend in.
But because you're on our side of the river, you turn into the misfits because there's something about being slightly excluded, slightly forgotten, which means whatever weird fungus bacteria grows in that petri dish, it is different than the stuff people are keeping a closer eye on. And since the beginning of this country, Philly and New York have always had the press, have always had a lot of eyes on them, have always had people paying a ton of attention to what they do. And being right next to the place where everything's happening, you're like, yeah, that's why the duel happens here where Alexander Hamilton gets killed. That's why the Jersey Devil is its own thing. That's why you get some of the artists that come out of here that are so strange by the national standard, but make total sense here. Even look, like a more modern version than the Misfits. Look at Screaming Females. Mm-hmm. That's one of the most talented bands ever. But do they sound like any other band you've ever heard? Do they look like any other band you've ever heard? No way. I think that, to me, and I might just be a huge dork about this, I go, the 300 to 400 year legacy of the Jersey Devil being this cobbled together monster is the exact same reason that New Jersey is able to embrace and launch the careers of a band like Screaming Females. I think it's the same thing in our heads that leads to the Jersey Devil and Screaming Females. And maybe I'm just an idiot or connecting too many dots, but I think there is something about us that wants things to be unique, and that the strangeness of so much of what we do is, in a way, an effort to be like, fine, you want to look past us? Then we will make something
we're gonna get weird with it.
We're gonna make we're gonna make things that are in some ways sort of off-putting or intimidating, and those are the best things we have to offer.
I completely agree, and I think that it is yet another example of the chip on our shoulder being massive and New York and Philadelphia shaped in some ways, and letting us build this culture of our own. And it's funny. I want to talk about. I want to talk about sightings of the Jersey Devil, which is a bit of a diversion, but I mean, there were sightings in. I was a little annoyed. There was a stretch in 1909, in January of 1909, where there were hundreds of claims of the Jersey Devil was spotted, and all over South Jersey and the Philadelphia area. Yeah. And I was like, oh hell! Like, I was like, no, you don't. Philly doesn't get this. This is a Jersey thing. Like I know y'all come to to Jersey in the summer and whatnot, and start talking about your water ice and the Eagles. But no, it's the Jersey Devil, not the Philly Devil. But I do love that there were like hundreds of sightings, and apparently Napoleon Bonaparte, his brother Joseph Bonaparte,
Bordentown's own Joseph Bonaparte.
He saw the Jersey Devil.
I love that.
Yes, and apparently at one sighting of the Jersey Devil, police in Camden and Bristol, Pennsylvania, shot at the Jersey Devil to no effect. So
also, the Jersey Devil is not the only Jersey Devil.
Yes,
there are other devils. It doesn't get talked about a lot. Even in Weird New Jersey, we haven't covered it too much, but. If anybody knows the Great Swamp, which is real far from the Pine Barrens.
Where is that exactly?
Basking Ridge, Long Hill. If anybody's taking your kids to the Raptor Trust to see the birds as they heal the birds, that's part of the Great Swamp. There is, again, since the 1700s, sightings of a creature that's called the Swamp Devil, which is pretty similar to the Jersey Devil in a lot of ways. But one thing that's real fun about it is if you go to Lord Sterling Park, which is, I think, there's the Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge, and then I think the Lord Sterling Park is a county park, but they all connect. Same thing, right? They just, it's jurisdiction. Lord Sterling Park, if you Google the phrase Devil's Den, Lord Sterling Park, I have found that very little comes up. But on the trail maps, there is an area clearly marked as Devil's Den. And that's an area that people have said since Lord Sterling, who was a part of the Revolution, owned that land. That's a particular stretch where people have seen this devil creature, but described similarly as this kind of odd, hard-to-describe monster that's greater than the sum of its parts.
So you kind of got like a Taylor Hemporkle situation. They got the Swamp Devil up north. You got the Jersey Devil down south.
I think that's probably, or maybe it's a little closer, like he's the big one. Like Pine Barrens is like the Six Flags, and the Swamp Devil is closer to like Land of Make-Believe. Like, I don't think he's as big a deal, but he's local and he's been there forever.
But speaking of Six Flags, I want to talk about the cultural impact of the Jersey Devil. There is a Six Flags Great Adventure roller coaster called the Jersey Devil. It's the Jersey Devil coaster.
I don't go on coasters. Is it good?
It's very good. It's a lot of fun.
That's good.
I was deep in my coaster ranking days for the NJ.com. I got to go to Media Day, and Dwayne has a hilarious video of me screaming like a child that we'll probably put on the screen right now. It was cool because not only was it like record breaking, that it was like the longest and fastest of its kind. It's like a single rail coaster. You're like one person like on the rail, like there's no one next to you. But also, it was a big departure for Six Flags because they usually do the rides with like it's like Superman or the Joker or Batman. Like it's like DC, Warner Brothers characters. And they're like, no, we're going to make a Jersey Devil. Like, and like
and those ride designers must have felt some pressure.
Yeah.
Because if you design a Jersey Devil themed ride in Jackson, which is one of the northern edges of the Pine Barrens, and you don't bring it,
people are going to be pissed.
People would be pissed.
Yeah. And actually,
that's another town. Jackson is another town. When I got to Rutgers, I realized and I lived with, two of my best friends grew up in Jackson. I lived with them for years. Jackson is the town in Ocean County that you're like, these kids have a goddamn screw loose, man. Because they all grow up going off-roading, and they all know how to get to the trails where you can just like reach out and touch the giraffes from the safari back there. And they all just grow up kind of weird, man. Jackson's a weird town. I like it a lot, but it's strange, and those people are strange, and they're not even going to get mad when they hear this.
No, they're going to be like, yeah, you're right. Bobby's going to be like, yeah, you're
I've
absolutely right.
never met someone from Jackson where when I'm like, every kid I ever met from Jackson was like a fundamentally nice person who also had a real hard to explain or suss out dark side. They're all like, oh yeah, completely. Strange place. Strange place.
Weirdest places in New Jersey is going to be an episode down the road for sure.
Maybe next Halloween.
No, I mean, we're New Jersey.
Bring me back for that one, baby.
A little bit on the cultural impact of the Jersey Devil. We talked about the coaster. He's been featured on The X-Files, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, What We Do in the Shadows.
The movie that a lot of people have accused Blair Witch Project of ripping off was a Jersey Devil. The Last Broadcast, I believe it's called. It was about people in the Pine Barrens looking for the Jersey Devil. And people say that the Blair Witch got their sort of like found footage horror movie idea from that.
And Blair Witch is one of the best horror movies of all time, and especially in the modern era. So you're welcome. It always comes back to Jersey.
Dude, I worked at the what was then the Lowe's. I hear it's now an AMC, New Brunswick, Route 1, and it was such a bad job. It was just angry people from Staten Island coming to the movie theater on our side of the river. But I worked there when Blair Witch came out. And I never forgot once they had a screening that no one attended. And they were like, hey, go clean up the whole theater because no one's in there so we can like get ahead of the cleaning before the late rush. And I had to be in a theater by myself with Blair Witch on. And I did not like it.
That sounds terrifying.
I didn't like it at all. And I had already seen it. I was like, just like everybody. It was like the scary parts are scary. There's a lot of boring stretches. But being in there alone, I was like, I just fundamentally am not enjoying this.
I wouldn't either. No, just like the crunch of popcorn and like eerie sounds and people screaming.
At a movie theater where there's a grave in the parking lot. You know about that? There's a woman's grave.
Sure,
the grave of Mary Ellis is just in the parking lot. It's been grandfathered in. All the different owners over the years. It's just, Jersey's the best.
When I die, bury me at Clifton Commons. That's
That's
my movie theater.
Fantastic place to get.
Yeah, buried. Clifton. Talking about Clifton. Yeah, I saw the Springsteen movie again last night there with my family, and that's my favorite theater in New Jersey. It's not the best at all, but it's just like where I saw all my movies as a kid. So
yeah, I mean, obviously as a West Orange kid, the old Essex screen, the 2-screener Essex screen, that's where I saw a lot of movies. But I also I got a real soft spot for the Bernardsville Cinema because it's a tiny independent one that's hanging on. And if we're just randomly going on a tangent of movie theaters, I got to say, I've done a couple shows at Smodcastle in Atlantic Highlands. The fact that Kevin Smith bought his childhood movie theater and runs it as a movie theater, but also screens all this nostalgic stuff for both him and other Jersey stuff. It's a great place, and you got to support it.
Yeah, I went to your show there. A buddy of mine, Stephen Rodas, my coworker's having his birthday there soon, which I'm psyched on, which has me very tempted to rent it out myself and make everybody watch Armageddon.
I did an event there. My friends who run the George Lucas Talk Show did it there. They asked me to come, and Kevin Smith was on it, so I finally met him. And you will not be shocked to hear he was like vaguely aware of me. I'm very aware of him. Like he's a big reason why.
I'm surprised he's just vaguely aware of you.
Well, he was like, he knew, he was like, you're another like mental health, Jersey, weird, creative comedy guy. Like he knew enough about me. I grew up, like Clerks and Mallrats were a big part of why I felt like as a working class kid, I could go try to become an artist. Like I really owe him a lot. But one of the first things we talked about, Weird New Jersey, it all comes back to this episode. I was like, man, I worked at Weird New Jersey for many years. He was like, no way, we always loved that. We stock it at the stash, this and that. I'm like, I've always felt like I could probably predict based on where you grew up and where you shout out in your movies which weird New Jersey spots you went to growing up. And he's like, what's your first guess? And I'm like, Bud's Grave. And he's like, hell yeah, I went to Bud's Grave all the time. I'm like, Whippoorwill Valley Road. He's like, the KKK is back there. Like, he knew all his weird New Jersey shit.
This is just like ingrained in us.
Yeah.
And I mean, weird New Jersey is, you said before we started recording that you think like people know about weird New Jersey like it's like Kleenex. They don't know, like they know about it as a concept, maybe not even as a magazine.
There's a whole group, there's a whole couple now. If you look at high school as like 4-year chunks, there's a number of kids who have passed through high school where print media has not been the style of the times, which I certainly don't need to tell you about.
Sure don't.
And this sense I have gotten is that a lot of younger people in this state understand the phrase weird New Jersey means you might jump in a car with your friends and go to West Milford to see Clinton Road because there's ghosts there. You might jump in the car and, go down to Bernardsville to try to touch the Devil's Tree. And that's a weird New Jersey thing. But they don't necessarily even understand. Like, it's now permeated the culture where they don't get there's a print magazine. I just need to be clear to anybody watching or listening. This magazine's still out there. It's still great. This is the new issue I'm holding up, number 64. I've told people, I've gotten more heavily involved with them again for this issue than I've been in years. And when I tell friends my age, like, oh, I've been doing a bunch of stuff with Weird New Jersey again, very often they're like, oh, they started publishing Weird New Jersey again? And I'm like, they never stopped. And I also think, you and I have both benefited because there's a real culture of like Jersey pride, Jersey love stuff.
Completely.
Instagram accounts, podcasts, TikTok accounts, people making a living off of Jersey love, and I'm all for it. But I think a lot of us who have been around since the 90s know, and I'm not just saying this because I worked for them for many years, but like this is the headwaters of our type of Jersey pride. And it just makes me bummed that there's a lot of kids who don't know that like this magazine was the first thing in my life that was like, hey, we were used to getting made fun of. Like, we're the punchline on SNL sketches. We're the joke. And not only is this a great guide to haunted places and stuff like the Jersey Devil, but it's also the first thing for many of us that was kind of like, actually, fuck that, I'm proud of this place. And it's why I think things like the Jersey Devil still amuse us so much. It's why kids in Clifton want to crawl through a sore grate to see if they, and I know I can't pronounce that word correctly, sore. I say sore grate. I don't know. The same way I say Nork, I say sore. But I think there's something to the idea of like, there's dark edges to life in this state.
Yeah.
We don't pretend that life is easy. In fact, we really obsess over the fact that life is pretty scary. And starting around when you're like 12, 13, 14 years old, you're probably going to have some older friends that are like, get in the car because not only is this state scary, but we're going to drive right now specifically to go get scared.
We're going to embrace the scare.
Yes, I'm taking you to Shades of Death Road tonight. I'm going to tell you 10 stories about it along the way. Like, that's what we do. Yeah. We look evil and fear in the eye as preteens in this state. That's part of how we grow up.
Weird New Jersey was such a through line, and it also made you feel like part of something bigger. Like it was like this weird connection for like, cause when you're like in middle school or like early in high school, you haven't left your like region of the state that much, but then you start reading, like I'm going to Montclair reading about like all this stuff in West Jersey and stuff and like South Jersey. And you're like, oh, there is more than like this one stretch of the turnpike and the parkway.
I never forgot when I found it at Middle Earth Comics in Montclair. Mm-hmm. Again, I talk so much shit about Montclair, but I owe Montclair so much.
He loves it.
I don't. It's such a complicated relationship.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode.
Please have me on for that one. When you want to end the podcast because everyone from Montclair protests it, have me back on. But I never forgot. I got issues 8 and 9 at Middle Earth Comics. I was junior in high school, sophomore in high school, and me and all my friends were instantly obsessed.
Yeah.
They're writing about the mental hospital up in Verona and Caldwell, which we had all. Most of us hadn't been yet, but we all had older siblings and friends who had been telling us stories about it for years. And I never forgot, we read about Annie's Road, which is in Totowa, off of 46, Riverview Drive. And we, this was before GPS. We had a vague sense of where it was from the magazine, figured out somebody had heard where it might be. We went, we drove around, we made 10 wrong turns. We had 3 cars. We drove down Annie's Road. Midgetville is also on the same road. We got out of the cars. We snuck into the Laurel Grove Cemetery to look for Annie's grave. The caretakers of the cemetery put on these floodlights and started chasing us all out. One of my friends did not make it back out, and we found him running in fear down the middle of Annie's Road, and we had to pick him up last minute. And that's like an adventure every kid should have. And going from West Orange to Totowa now, you know, once you're old enough, you start to realize it's like a 20-minute drive.
Oh, but it feels like an hour.
Yeah, like that's it's just on the other side of the Willowbrook Mall. We'd all been to, you went to the Livingston Mall when you grew up in West Orange, but if you want like go to a bigger mall, Willowbrook. We'd all been to if you want to go fun and games, you play that. We'd all been to Willowbrook Mall. It's 10 minutes further than Willowbrook Mall, but
it felt like a rite of passage.
And that's the thing about the Jersey Devil and the Pine Barrens too, and all of it does roll down from that legend through all the Weird New Jersey stuff of it's not just about that this story is out there, it's that we jump in the car and we go. That's the thing about it that I go, that's part of the secret sauce of New Jersey. And it's why I would argue it's why so many Jersey bands survive when it's so hard to survive as a band. Mm-hmm. And I would argue it's why, like, you can talk to anybody from New York who's a hater. People who hate Jersey so much, I guarantee you go like, yeah, but if you were drafted to serve in a war, who do you want next to you in the trench? They're going to be like 8 guys from Jersey.
Yes,
you know
give
what
me
I
the
mean?
dudes from Clifton.
You want somebody from Connecticut, Jersey, or Pennsylvania. They're going to go Jersey every time.
Damn
we know
right.
they are.
Damn right.
Because they know we have a screw loose and they know that we're messed up. But I think a big part of it, it's not just the Jersey Devil is not only interesting as a piece of folklore. It's interesting because Jersey has this thing that almost no other place has, which is a culture of participatory folklore. Get in the car.
We're not
and
just gonna talk about it.
see
Yeah, we're gonna go see it. We're gonna try to go find it. We're gonna go try to find the Jersey Devil and the Pine Barrens and get the shit scared out of us.
And if you don't want to go see it,
we're gonna make fun of you.
You're probably gonna go to like an expensive liberal arts college somewhere. Like we know you're not going to Rutgers, you know? We know you're going to Wesleyan, you're going to Brandeis or something. No offense. Yeah. But like you start to see how people divide up on that, you know?
Oh man. Chris, before we start wrapping up, we got a few more cryptids to talk about.
So many.
Yeah, I mean too many for that could be a whole its own episode, but I mean there have been countless Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah.
And I mean and there's what's the Jersey version? Is there like a Jersey version of Bigfoot?
Yeah, the big red eye. Sussex County and Warren County, there's our specific Bigfoot is out that way, which no one will be shocked to hear that Sussex and Warren are where you see Bigfoot. But ours supposedly has glowing red eyes.
That's terrifying.
And there's even, if you go, there's a really great family campground called the Great Divide. It's right up near, it's not too far from Wild West City. And they have a ton of great Bigfoot-themed imagery. All over their campground for the kids. So I want to shout them out because that's a great, we got our own Bigfoot.
We got Mantis Man, who's a 7-foot bug-like creature who was found in Hackettstown near the
Musconetcong Kong River.
That is such a crazy word to pronounce. You got Hooker Man.
Well, Hooker Man's a ghost. Hooker Man's less a cryptid, more a ghost.
So is there, I mean.
Hooker Man, it's now known as the Columbia Trail. It's a rail trail. And for years, people have seen like a bouncing light along these old train tracks, and no one can quite scientifically explain it. And there's people who have photos of the light. The light is a thing that has happened. Some people say it's a reflection. Some people say maybe there's like some level of minerals that when the metal from the rail tracks interacted with them, it created this like electrostatic whatever. But people see it and they say that there's a ghost of a railway worker who got his arm chopped off, who's walking around with a lantern looking for his missing arm. That's out in Chester and Long Valley. Yeah.
I just love I did
go all day.
I know you go off the dome.
If we're just sticking to cryptids too, I have to shout out. And this one I remember there not being much of a story from Weird New Jersey, but just the phrase alone, the Monkey Man of Bayonne.
That's so good.
Always made me laugh. And that was like an area of Bayonne where you won't be shocked to hear it was like I think a bunch of sort of warehouses and abandoned factory buildings, and there was some sort of hairy Monkey Man. And then I think if I remember right, there was also a Monkey Man of Hoboken.
Sure.
So there was a lot of debate of like, wait, those are kind of close. Was it
the same guy?
Is he just going to like Maxwell's to see shows on the weekends and then heading back to Bayonne?
Oh my God. The Monkey Man of Bayonne.
Monkey Man of Bayonne was good. We have our own Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, Hoppy, right?
We got Hoppy.
Yep. My research pays off. A reptilian canine creature said to live in the largest freshwater lake in New Jersey, Lake Hopatcong. Also seen in Sandy Hook and the Red Bank Shore. So But lots of like sea serpents that have been seen. I mean,
Yeah.
we got a lot of ocean. So
Even in this,
ocean.
the new issue of Weird New Jersey, there's a story about where is it? About the Surf City sea serpent. So down the shore.
Sure. Going to get some clams.
Yeah, man, gets the good scallops down there. God. But yeah, there's a lot of great.
Jersey's so weird. I love that. I mean, there are so many boring states that don't have anything like this.
This is a sort of ghost, sort of cryptid. Do you know about Pig Lady?
No.
Pig Lady Road is in Hillsborough, which if you know that area, like just beyond the Bridgewater Commons Mall, that area that right now is kind of like they love big farms and 4-H. They also have like a number of areas that are sort of heartbreaking because townhouses just all fell out of the sky at the same time. But Roycefield Road in Hillsborough cuts through the old Duke Estate, Duke Farms. It's beautiful parkland down there, but there's been stories for many years of a lady who has the body of a human woman and the head of a pig who charges at cars with an axe. You got the Pig Lady. Beautiful story.
Why not?
Fantastic story, yeah.
I wonder if the Pig Lady calls it Taylor Hammer Porkle.
I don't know. That's right on the edge of where they start to shift.
And she'd probably be real unhappy to answer that question.
That one's also kind of cool in a nerdy way because there was a famous murder case in Somerset, right next to New Brunswick, called the Halls Mills murders. And it was kind of like the OJ trial of the early 20th century. So this reverend, and he was having an affair, and it was all the national tabloids were picking it up. And a local pig farmer who was this, everybody who writes about her says she was like a very kooky, weird lady. It was a pig farmer. She was sick, and she claimed she witnessed it, and they would wheel her in a hospital bed, and all the papers referred to her as the Pig Lady.
You often, in my research for this, these cryptids often have a
kernel of something.
Yeah, there's something that, I mean, like whether
what we don't know is like that was down near, basically right on the edge of like Franklin, Somerset, and New Brunswick. How did that turn into legends of a half woman, half pig in Hillsborough, which is like a good half hour away?
Yeah. Just word travels fast in Jersey,
like
especially if it's
lady.
Weird, if it's about a pig lady.
Oh, you gotta go see a pig lady.
Chris, we could do this all day, and I wish I could.
Yeah.
This is so much fun.
I'm just getting started.
I know you, and this is all like if you're watching this. I have my notes in front of me. I did research for this.
I literally didn't look up a thing.
I legitimately was like, should I ask Chris to no. He's got this. This is his wheelhouse.
And I know I'm gonna leave and think of like 3
I know, I'm gonna
other
get 10
badass
texts.
cryptids that I'm like, how did we not talk about? I'm glad you brought up Mantis Man. He's newer. Those reports are more recent. I love
Mantis Man and Gator Man.
Where's Gator Man?
Gator Man, the Newton Lafayette area. In the summer of '73, the residents of that area saw a large humanoid alligator, which also could have been the lizard from Spider-Man. Who knows? But I love that. We could do this all day. This is
just the cryptids. Like you're not even letting me off the chain in terms of just more ghosts and general urban legends. We could go town by town.
Oh my God!
I can almost guarantee. At this point, it used to be statewide when I was in my prime. But if you tell me anything from like New Brunswick and north, if you tell me where you grew up, I can 80% of the time tell you what weird New Jersey site you probably went to as a kid.
All right, well, let's just, for shits and giggles, Montclair, where did I go?
Monk's Castle, the Hilltop Asylum, Gates of Hell, and then you might have gone and tried to check out the Death Seat at the Old Canal Inn in Nutley, but you probably weren't going to get in if you weren't 21. Those are the big ones.
You're an encyclopedia of weird New Jersey, and that's what that's one of the many things I love.
There was a stretch where when you used to come to Weird New Jersey live events, I ran the merch table, and part of it was you could walk up to me and be like, "You got anything in like Rumson?" And I'd be like, "Nothing Rumson directly, but you're gonna want to pick up issue blah 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 because it would be like issue 11 has Whippoorwill Valley Road. That's right there in Middletown. You're gonna want the Evil Clown in Middletown. You're gonna want this and that. Bud's Grave was in this issue and that issue. Like I used to have all of Weird New Jersey memorized in my head.
Based on this podcast, I think you still do.
Now there's 64. We just put out issue 64, so I don't have all of it in my head.
All right. Well, you'll get there.
I just love it so much, man.
It shows. Well, Chris, before we let you go, we got to run you through the Garden State Gauntlet Halloween edition. Are you ready?
Yep. What
is your favorite New Jersey cryptid?
My favorite New Jersey cryptid? Ooh, that's tough. There is a part of me that really does enjoy telling people about the swamp devil of the Great Swamp, because I do feel like it's gotta suck if like you're a devil in the same state as the Jersey Devil. Like in some ways, I would actually argue that I'm about to say, why do I say dumb shit like this and mean it, Jeremy? In some ways, I would say the overlooked second best nature of the Basking Ridge area swamp devil makes him more of a Jersey Devil than the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil gets all the hype. That's kind of New York stuff. The less hyped, more slept on Jersey Devil is in some ways the more Jersey Devil, but that's not the Jersey Devil. That's the Swamp Devil.
I see what you're saying. The Swamp Devil is for the real heads.
He's the one who's got the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So
He's
paying
like
attention.
he's like seeing the Jersey Devils press clippings and be like, "What the hell, man? Like I thought I was this state's devil. God damn it!"
Indeed,
it's because he's in Central Jersey and they don't believe. God damn it!
There's also an amazing story in either issue 6 or 7 of Weird New Jersey, which is impossible to find. I can't remember if it's 6 or 7. They re-released it briefly. There is an insane story. It's one of the scariest things I've ever read, where a guy writes about how when he was a teenager, he was sent camping in the woods by the city. I think the city of Newark. I think he grew up in Newark. They had a program where they sent kids camping, but it was mostly just to get them out. And he was attacked by a Bigfoot. And he writes a very, very detailed, and I can say he's not a professional writer. He admits that he was on drugs for the whole thing. And yet, because of the honesty of it, I remember reading it and being like, this is so scary. So if you can track down that issue that has that Bigfoot attack, woof, that's a crazy one. That's a crazy one.
What is your favorite weird place in New Jersey?
Oh, come on. So many. I now have the very joyous experience that I am the father of a 6-year-old. So I now get to bring him and his friends around and try to scare them. And I can say I brought him and his friends to the Devil's Tree. And it's not alone in a field anymore. A bunch of the limbs have been chopped off, but it's still very disconcerting and scary. It's like just unsettling looking. And I told my friend and my son and his bozo friend Killian.
Get name dropped on the pod,
I'll drop my son Cal, his bozo friend Killian. His parents will love hearing it. They're like so fearless when they're together. And you'll love this story. And maybe I'll check with his parents to see if I can put it on the podcast. But I told them, so I didn't tell them like, hey, they used to hang people from the Devil's Tree. And like there are historical examples that the KKK was right down the road in Zarephath next to Bound Brook. And you can probably in some way say that the presence of the KKK is probably why the Devil's Tree stories exist, because they used to say they hung people from the tree. That's why it's cursed. I didn't tell a 6-year-old all of that, but I did tell them one of the big stories, which is you're never supposed to touch the Devil's Tree, that you will be cursed. And of course, these two idiots get out of the car, look at me. I'm like, don't touch the tree. They're like, are the stories real? I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I don't want them having nightmares. So I'm like, I don't think so, but like, I wouldn't touch it. Of course, they run up, hands on the Devil Tree, grinning at me. I'm taking pictures. I'm like, you guys are idiots. But then, and this is the part that I got to check with my friends. My buddy, who's Killian's dad, lives down the street, told me that Killian the next day was like, Dad, I think I'm cursed, and made him take him to a Catholic church to get holy water to remove the curse of the Devil's Tree.
Exorcise me!
But I do think there's something amazing there of like, the Devil's Tree is real central. Everybody can get to it. It's good for adults. It's good for kids. Something about it's disconcerting. And then of course, you know, you could do a whole series on Clinton Road. Yeah. And that road's very legit uncomfortable. If you have those stories in your head and you drive down there at night and you turn off your headlights, it's so dark. But I think the Devil's Tree and Clinton Road, there's a reason there too of like the tent pole things that made Weird New Jersey popular.
What was your favorite Halloween costume growing up?
Ooh. I do remember there was a point when I realized that I was being picked on for being weird. There was a year in middle school when I was like, if they want to come at me like this, I'm gonna go all in. Like, you want to call me weird, I'll be weirder than you can imagine. And that was kind of my way of fighting back. And I remember there was one year where, if I remember right, I wore a Marvel Wolverine mask, but this was in like 1992. Like, comics were not popular. And I had on a hula skirt and a Michigan Wolverine sweatshirt. And I walked around school all day just being like, pick on this. And mostly like, can I be vaguely unsettling enough to the bullies so that they at least don't physically come at me? And I think mission accomplished. That Halloween costume, people were like, you're just a strange man.
But the combining Wolverine and the Michigan Wolverines is pretty brilliant. And the hula skirt, that's next level.
It was
Respect.
a real outlier.
What is the most Jersey possible Halloween costume? I mean, there's a bunch, I feel like, but
fantastic question.
I got 2 friends going as Tony Soprano this weekend. That's that's pretty classic.
Obviously, you're like, you could have one member of a couple be Taylor Ham, the other be pork roll. These are the obvious answers. I would say maybe you know what would be good? If you have a group costume where you all wear like vaguely like sludgy greenish brown sweatsuits and tape different like empty bottles and used condoms to yourself, and you team up as a group and just go as the Passaic River. That would be pretty fucking badass. Sorry to curse.
No, it's quite all right. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh, I do consistently remember at Halloween time that the fruit-flavored Tootsie Rolls are wildly underrated.
Big fan.
They do not have a year-round presence.
I found them. I'll
but
hook you up.
in general, Halloween.
Oh, no. It's like that's when they come out.
That's their moneymaker.
Yeah, the cherry ones are.
They survive. Even the vanilla ones, which I know are not the orange ones.
Take an orange and a vanilla, bada big.
Get the orange and the lime. You got a little citrus combo. But I'm always shocked. I mean, Fruities, I think, is the name on the wrapper. I'm always shocked that those haven't established a foothold outside of that explosion in October. They're very niche outside of that.
What's the most Jersey thing you could give out at Halloween?
Ooh. This brings to mind a couple stories. I will say, I never forgot this, if I can tell a little story. I know I'm talking too long in the speed round, but I remember once when my friends and I, we were old enough to go around West Orange by ourselves. And if you know down the hill, West Orange, like it packs out on Halloween because it's house. So people show up from everywhere. And we went to the street, Amos Street, which is dead end on the outskirts of our neighborhood, knocked on this lady's door, and she was like, I'm out of candy. But she was super nice. We were like, that's all right. She's like, don't egg my house or anything, guys. We're
no
like,
mischief night, no goosey night.
Yeah, and we were like, no, you're being so nice about it. We won't egg your house. You seem like a nice lady. And she goes, hold on 1 second. And she came back and gave us each a full can of soda. She's like, what kind of sodas do you guys want?
Hell yeah.
It was sick. But then the best part was the next year, we go to her house, and we're like walking up the street, and we don't even remember. And then someone up the house, one of my friends halfway up the block is like, isn't this that lady who gave us the sodas? And then we ring the doorbell. She opens the door right away. She's like, I've been waiting for you guys all night. Come in, sit down. We sat on her porch, drank the soda. She asked us how school was going, how's the last year been, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And there were a few years there at my tail end of trick-or-treating where this lady was just like, these are my soda boys.
That's so sweet.
So I kind of think, a full can of soda, but even more importantly, a conversation.
How's school? How's life?
A nitty-gritty conversation between child and adult stranger.
On Halloween in Essex County, New Jersey, of course.
She was rad. Yeah. I never forgot Soda Lady. Although, also the mayor of our town, Sammy the Bulldog Spina, lived on Maple Street, and he's the only person we ever encountered where he'd be like, all right, if you guys want your candy, you do have to do the trick. And you'd be like, what? And he'd be like, if I'm giving out the treats, I want to see the tricks. And I remember we'd go in the mayor's living room and have to do like a somersault on the floor. And I think back to that, and I'm like, that's a real power move that makes me feel uncomfortable to this day.
Yeah, that's like...
That being said, Sammy the Bulldog Spina ran West Orange with something of an iron fist, but he was a gentle and benign dictator, and we love him. Everybody who grew up in West Orange during his reign loves Sammy the Bulldog.
If there was going to be we talked about a Jersey Devil movie on a previous episode, and we went a whole thing with that. But if you were going to pitch a silly Jersey Devil movie,
okay,
who kind of maybe for kids, it's like, oh, the Jersey Devil's actually just misunderstood. Like he's like, he's a sweet guy, blah blah blah, or gal, whatever. Who would voice other than you? Because I think you'd be excellent as the voice. I don't know.
I don't know if I'd be good at.
I think you would be.
I don't know.
I thought Seth Rogen, like I could see him, but
he's got no Jersey roots.
That's true. Oh, that's valid.
But he would be good at it.
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci would be. Danny DeVito could pull off something very good.
Yes.
You know who else would be a fantastic voice actor if you wanted to have a little more heft and gravity? Is Mendham native Peter Dinklage.
Oh, I mean, hey, he just played Toxie in the Toxic Avenger, so
Yeah.
he could do another Jersey legend.
I'll also say this, speaking of movies, and actually, maybe I shouldn't even blow up my spot on that, but if there's anybody that wants to develop Jersey-based horror movies with me, I have a fan. Actually, let's cut that part because I don't even want to give away that idea.
All right, well, that's off
I
pod.
have a great
that's
idea.
Off pod.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Last question, Chris. What is your favorite place in Montclair?
Oh, that's fucked up. That's a mean question. Let's see.
I know you got spots you like.
I do. I hang out in Montclair all the time.
Yeah, you do.
There's actually, it's very funny because you and I have been friends for a bunch of years now. You came on my old podcast. I'm here.
Yeah.
You've supported me at shows. We've gotten meals off the record. We text. Like, I would say we're at a firm, like, beyond acquaintances, into friends level.
My good friend Chris Gethard. I love saying that.
I give you so much guff about Montclair. Then you put out the ice cream list, and the one thing I always tell people is, like, unquestionably, Applegate Farms, specifically the Graham Central Station flavor, is like the best. And it's in Montclair, and they named it after a New York City transit hub. Like, there's a lot of things I don't want to like about that ice cream, but I cannot question the fact that that's the best ice cream I've ever had. And yet, every time you read a Jeremy Schneider food list, there's always like, let's admit it, everybody, you read like, oh, the 101 best falafels in New Jersey. There's going to be like 4 too many from Montclair and 3 too many from Jersey City because you're a homer.
Oh,
you're
man,
a homer.
The truth comes out.
There's always a heavy Jersey City and Montclair weight to your food
Those are
lists.
2 of the best food towns in the state. I just happen to be from one of them and live in the other.
Yeah, and some of those things are top 20 when they should be top 50. I have firm opinions on your food.
Wait, I don't. Wait, you're saying I overrate Applegates?
No, the ice cream list. All of a sudden, like the one Montclair thing I truly love with my whole heart. You're like, that's like the 9th best. I'm like, this is the one thing where I would totally have your back with pumping up the Montclair spot. And you're like, oh no, I worked there as a kid and I can't get over it.
No. I was talking to a buddy of mine who we worked at Applegates together. I still love Applegate's ice cream. I just think Holston's is better.
Where you put is Applegate's top 10 on the list?
Let's see.
It's like 8th or
NJ.com
9th. I'm sitting here. I'm going.
cream.
The one Montclair thing I truly love is the one that you're kind of like, yeah, it's good. It's solid. It's upper crust, but not total top tier. I'm like, it's the only thing in Montclair that I tell people from all over the state. Although I will say Applegate Farms, I do have to admit, after the Graham Center, the flavors are a little hit or miss.
It can be inconsistent. We have Applegate at number 8 on our list, which
Number
I think
8?
I think that's pretty fair.
The one thing that I'm like, that is the apex of ice cream in New Jersey, and it happens to be in Montclair. You're like, no.
Gotta zig where you
That's
zag,
actually
baby.
like the one iconic Montclair place that I'm not putting in the top 3 as a rule.
Hey man, I thought you were gonna say Let It Rock.
If we're talking closed down businesses, then
rest
yes.
in peace, Let It Rock. Rest in peace, Funky Burrito Joint.
There is a legitimate entire generation of small business owners and creative people in New Jersey right now who started out in the punk rock scene and bought their records at Let It Rock. That there should be, in the same way that there's like so much chatter about City Gardens and Trenton being this legendary venue, Maxwell's being this legendary venue. Someone needs to get on record the joy and the beauty of the tiny hole in the wall, probably as small as this room.
No, smaller.
Let It Rock.
I remember
Incredible place. Yeah.
I remember recording a freaking 3-song demo with a friend and just like burning it to CDs and putting it at Let It Rock, and the guy rolled his eyes at us so hard.
But he let you leave it there.
He sure did. Oh,
that
no.
was the thing.
No.
You'd go up with like, I remember buying a Pogue CD and getting like the quiet nod and being like, okay, I just bought something cool. Versus buying like a less than Jake 7-inch, where you get like the slight eyebrow raise and you're like, okay, maybe I need to outgrow ska punk a little bit.
Spoiler alert, nobody was picking up the Emo Supremo demo that me and my friend dropped off
But
there.
that was the thing. Even
could
though
do
he
it,
rolled
though.
his eyes,
Yeah.
you were still allowed to do it.
No.
Like
Absolutely.
I came in and would be this annoying little kid buying lame stuff, and for years but it never felt like I wasn't allowed to go in. It's just I lived in fear of Bobby Let It Rock's very discernible signs of judgment.
Rest in peace, Let It Rock.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that place was the best.
Chris, this was a long time coming and as fun as I expected it to be.
At least I didn't spend 20 minutes shouting about real estate in Maplewood this time.
That's
when, to be
next
clear,
episode.
you had not asked me anything about real estate or Maplewood.
That might have happened. Chris, where can people find your work? What are you working on these days? What do you got to plug? Where you at?
The number one thing I want to say to my Jersey people, this is issue 64 of Weird New Jersey magazine. We're lucky to have this. I am very obsessed with the idea that I want it to remain specifically a print magazine. I think it shouldn't just live on your phone. I think the idea that this stays on your coffee table at Rutgers or it gets passed around your high school friends, support Weird New Jersey. You can find me at Instagram.com/Chris Gethard. I got the Beautiful Anonymous podcast. I'm always doing shows around the state. So I love this place. But the main thing I want to push right now, and I started submitting articles again. I'm not even getting paid right now, though. I'm telling you, Weird New Jersey is a special thing. I think we all need to remember that, re-embrace that. Buy it for yourself, buy it for your kids, get back out there, use it as an excuse to have road trips with people you love. It's an incredible, special thing we have here. Let's support it, make sure it survives for many years.
It is a true New Jersey treasure, and it is very fitting that you would take your time to plug that. So, Chris, thank you. Thank you to our audio producer, James Shapiro, our video producer, Dwayne Uzaro, our executive producer, Bobby Olivier. Thank you to Schmutz Adels, a.k.a. John Cos, for our theme song. Fitting. If you have any questions, episode ideas, guest suggestions, anything of that nature, thoughts, whatever, tell me I'm great, tell me I'm terrible, probably the latter. Email us at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com. Like, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and please consider subscribing to NJ.com. There's a link in the episode notes. New Jersey needs high quality journalism, and our journalists need you. Tune in again next week for the latest episode of Jersey's Best Podcast, and remember, Jersey forever.